Hello everyone. First, let's watch a short video. When we're creating videos, there's a topic that's impossible to avoid. What is that topic? Consistency. Of course, this consistency exists on different levels. For instance, we can ensure a character consistency. Some methods can maintain consistency for both characters and objects. But in the video you just saw, you'll notice it achieved a high degree of consistency across characters, objects, and the environment. So, how do we achieve this? I'm sure many of you have various methods. But today, I'm going to teach you a relatively simple way to do it. To help you understand my thought process more clearly, I'm going to explain the creation process in reverse. Let's start with the video generation part. For video generation, I primarily used Wan2.2's start, end, and frame workflow. Okay, now let's take a look at the workflow itself. I'll quickly break it down. My version has a few optimizations compared to the official one. First, let's look at the main model loading section. I loaded Wan2.2, single quotes, and low noise, image to video models, as well as the text encoder and V. I also added a clip, Vision H, which is a visual encoder. For acceleration, I'm using Anlight X2 V8 step acceleration model. And to make the prompts more effective, I've used an NAG node, which connects the negative prompt directly to the model, making it much more impactful. In my negative prompt, I specifically added the phrase, scene change, 场景切换. This is to prevent the model from switching scenes during the transition between the start and end frames, as we want the action to happen within the same setting. Next are the start and end frame images. In the official workflow, the start and end images are connected directly. In my version, however, they first pass through the visual encoder we loaded earlier, clip Vision H. After being encoded, they are then connected to the clip vision, start image, and clip vision end image inputs. Also need to input the positive and negative conditions, which are generated by the text encoder from our positive and negative prompts. The sampling process is pretty standard, just sample with the high noise and low noise models, respectively. With that, we can generate our videos. Scene 1. Take a look. It starts with a close-up of a blue and white porcelain bowl. This is the object we want to keep consistent. The end frame is a wider shot where the camera has pulled back a bit. You can see that the entire environment, the lamp, the mural on the wall, the plant on the side, is consistent, confirming it's the same room. The prompt I used was simply camera zoom out, which clearly tells the model to pull the camera back. We get this effect very easily, basically without any trial and error. For the second video, the start frame is the last frame from the previous scene. For the end frame, I added a man and a woman into the scene. My prompt was a young man and a woman, sit down. I was hoping they would walk in from the sides and sit down. However, the result I got was them popping up from below the frame, which leaves a lot to the imagination. I initially thought about adjusting it to get the effect I wanted, which wouldn't be too difficult. But then I realized this version was more dramatic and interesting. So, these kinds of unexpected surprises are part of the fun when you're tweaking technical details and workflows. Scene 3, the start and end frames, for the third scene, are quite simple. The start frame is the final frame from scene 2. For the end frame, I just slightly changed the woman's viewing angle and the man's posture. My prompt here was the young woman and man are discussing the bowl on the table. And this is the effect we get. The final scene was probably the most difficult to generate, and sometimes required a bit of luck. The start frame is the end of the previous scene. The end frame is a change in perspective to an overhead, top-down shot. To achieve a smooth transition like this, a few things are crucial. First is the combination of the NAG node and the scene change negative prompt to ensure the camera animates within the same scene instead of cutting away. The second is a very clear and specific prompt. I wrote, camera moves up at a 45-degree angle to a top-down view overlooking the scene. And that gave us this result. After generating these clips, you just do some basic editing. Piece them together, add some music, and you get the final video we saw at the beginning. Now, I believe for many of you, the video generation part isn't the main problem. The real challenge is, how were these consistent images generated in the first place? For that, I used Nano Banana. As many of you may have discovered, Nano Banana is like a treasure trove. with so many fun and creative uses people have found for it. The technique we're using today was inspired by a post I stumbled upon on Twitter. As you can see, the user took a reference image collage, used it to generate a single cohesive image, and then used Wan2.2 to create a video. All the elements in the final video are placed precisely on the table, including the characters and even the fill light. The key takeaway is that you need to know Nano Banana is highly sensitive to collage style or stitched images. To test this, I did an experiment in Google's AI Studio. I uploaded this collage of food items and wrote a prompt. A stylish young woman sits in a YouTube mukbang setting. In front of her is a variety of food, like cheeseburgers, French fries, vanilla, milkshakes, ... double quotes, and so on, with details about lighting and photo quality. And sure enough, it generated this amazing image. A crucial tip here: the aspect ratio of your reference image matters. If you want a landscape image, your collage should be in a landscape format. Also, Nano Banana can accept multiple reference images. If you do, what determines the resolution of the final output? It's determined by the resolution of the last image you upload. This isn't just my guess. It's mentioned in a recent prompting guide released by Google for Nano Banana. So, with this knowledge, we can get creative. I made my own collage with an image of the environment, the blue and white porcelain bowl, a man and a woman. I then used the prompt. A stylish young woman and a young man are sitting in a room, ... double quotes. Because I provided an image of the room, it produced this incredible result. It perfectly crops and integrates the scene, and the details and consistency are spot on. Look at the porcelain bowl. In the reference, you can see a small pavilion, lotus leaves, 2 seal stamps, and water ripples. In the generated image, although the bowl is small, all those details, the ripples, pavilion, lotus leaves, stamps, and lotus flower, perfectly preserved. This demonstrates Nano Banana's extraordinary ability to maintain subject consistency. However, the image wasn't perfect. The bowl had what looks like instant noodles in it, and it was a bit too large. We want them discussing a piece of art, not a bowl of noodles. So I tweaked the prompt, adding the words empty, small, to the description of the bowl. And as you can see, the proportions are much better now, while all the intricate details of the bowl remain. Once we have this base image, we can edit it further to create all the frames we need. And sometimes, you have to generate your target images in reverse order. My first step was to remove the people. I used the prompt, remove the man and woman, and got this image of the empty room. Next, I wanted a close-up of the bowl. So, I used the prompt. A close-up view of the Chinese blue and white bowl and got this shot. I then experimented with camera movements. I tried to move the camera to the left, but the result wasn't great. I tried from above, knowing Nano Banana is good at that, but the result was a bit too extreme and unusable for a smooth video transition. So I tried again, uploading the base image and prompting a 45-degree top-down view. This gave me the perfect image. From all these generated images, I selected the ones I needed. The close-up of the bowl became my first frame. The wide shot of the empty room became the second frame. The image with the characters became the third frame. The one with the slight side angle became the fourth frame, and the 45-degree top-down view became the fifth frame. These 5 images line up perfectly with the start and end frames we used earlier for our 4 video clips. With these highly consistent images, we achieve that great final effect. To summarize, with this method, we successfully maintained a high degree of consistency for the characters, the object, and the environment. This is one of the simplest ways to achieve this. Of course, you could use methods like LoRa, but that can come with its own set of problems. For example, a LoRa trained on Wan2.2 would struggle to maintain the consistency of patterns or Chinese characters on an object. You could use QuenImage, which is better at text and pattern consistency, but that just makes the overall workflow more complex. The more complex the process, the harder it often is to guarantee consistency. Therefore, Nano Banana's powerful image editing and subject consistency capabilities provide a relatively simple path to generating these kinds of videos. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and try it for yourself. Follow me to become someone who truly understands AI.